Hey y'all! Today we are working on our new shed. This is a 10 by 10 metal shed from Patiowell. We actually already have a Patiowell shed that we've had for about a year now. It's a little bit smaller. We've been using it to store our chicken feed and extra supplies. Hey y'all! Today we are working on our new shed. This is a 10 by 10 metal shed from Patiowell. We actually already have a Patiowell shed that we've had for about a year now. It's a little bit smaller. We've been using it to store our chicken feed and extra supplies for the chickens, those kinds of things. And it's worked out really well for us, so we're excited to get this one put together. It's a 10 by 10 metal shed. Came in 4 boxes, delivered right to our door, and today we're going to work on putting it together.
Here we are opening everything up, getting out the assembly instructions, making sure we had everything that we need. It even came with some gloves that you can use to protect your hands if that's something that you want to do. So my daughter and I are working on this. We ended up working on this over 3 different days. On this first day, my teenager was helping me and we were starting to assemble the frame for the bottom. And we got that frame all assembled and put together, and I realized I really wanted to get some 2x4s to screw this metal frame into to give it a little extra weight and just sturdy it up a bit for the base. And so we put this metal frame together and then kind of stopped there. We worked on this for maybe 30-45 minutes, probably more like 45 minutes this first day, and then went ahead and stopped until we had the wood for the frame. Once we had the wood for the frame, we got that screwed down and started building up the shed from there. Y'all, we had some crazy weather. So this is day number 2 working on this. We'd had crazy weather, an Arctic blast, some rain, and so we were having to work on this when the weather permitted. So thankfully my dad was willing to come and help and able to come and help while Justin was at work, because I definitely think that this shed, you need 2 people working on this together to be able to hold the pieces up, to help with instructions, just get what you need. Having 2 people work on this, I feel like that's important. And so Dad was able to come and help me while my husband Justin was at work. The instructions were easy to follow. We had a couple of times that we had to utilize the QR codes within the instructions. You can just pull your phone up, scan that QR code, and it will pull up a video, a really quick, to the point, concise video that shows you each step. There's videos broken down for each step of assembly. So if you come to a place where you're hung up a little bit, you can just scan that QR code, watch that assembly, and keep moving forward. But overall, it was really easy to assemble and the instructions were really straightforward. I felt like the instructions gave you all the information you needed without a whole lot of extra. It gave you what you needed, gave you a picture, gave you the instructions, and you could follow them pretty easy. At one point, I thought I had lost the instructions. We ended up finding them. But at one point I thought I had lost them, and you could actually go online and download the instructions as well, so I could look at them on my phone. At this point, we're getting closer to the end of day 2, and when I say we worked on this all day, we worked on this all day from probably 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning until, I don't know, maybe 7 o'clock at night. Probably somewhere right around in there. So we worked on it all day until we were out of daylight. We were almost finished. You can't see it here, but we ended up going ahead and putting on all of the roof on that day. And here we're moving into the final day, day number 3. We only had to work on this for maybe another hour because we did end up finishing the roof the day that we worked on this before. We just had to trim out the roof and put the doors on, which is what we're working on right here. And when I tell you I was impressed by the quality, I mean it. Every piece, there was nothing that seemed flimsy, there was nothing that seemed cheap. Everything was really good quality. At this point, it sure was rewarding to know that we were coming to the end. Every time I would flip a page in the instruction book, in the assembly manual, I'd be like, oh, we're this much closer. We're almost done. Because while it was easy to assemble, I mean, it was a little bit of work. We had to stick to it. We worked on it consistently, and it all came together. But yeah, at this point, we were excited to see us nearing the end of those steps. Throughout this assembly process, Dad and I had talked about some things that we were really impressed with, as well as some things that, I'm not going to say raised concern, but just had us thinking about it a little bit. And here in just a moment, after we have this completely assembled, I'm going to walk you around the shed and kind of talk to you about my thoughts, show you the space, show you what it looks like inside and outside, and share some of those, I guess, final thoughts with you. Things that I was really impressed with, things that Dad and I talked about being impressed with, and then a few things that we just had to put a little extra thought into, and some things that we may have to address later on. I'm going to cover all of that in just a moment as we walk around the shed. Here we are, putting on the doors, final step, closing everything up, finishing everything up, and the assembly was complete. Here's a little look at the shed, all finished up, and now let me show you around.
And just like that, she is put together. The shed is assembled. Now, I'm sure you can tell from those clips, we actually worked on this over 3 days. I started working on it with my teenage daughter, and we put the metal frame for the bottom together, and I realized that I wanted to get some 2x4s to screw that into, just to give it a little bit more stability. So we stopped and worked on it for maybe 45 minutes to an hour that first day. Stopped, got what we needed, and y'all, we've had to work around the weather. The weather has been, we had an Arctic blast come through, dealt with ice, then we had tons of rain, and so we've had to try to find days where the weather cooperated, which meant it had to be during the week. So thankfully, my dad was willing and able to come and help while Justin was at work. So my dad came and helped me, and we enjoyed it. We enjoyed working together to put this shed together, to get it assembled. Y'all, overall, it went together pretty easily. That first day that Dad came to help work on it, we worked on it all day, from like 9 o'clock that morning until 6 or 7 o'clock that night. And we were so close to finishing, but he came back today. We worked on it for maybe another hour and finished it up. So could you fit this in one day? Could you assemble this in one day? Probably, but I would give yourself a couple of days just for the extra time. This is our second Patiowell shed. We have a smaller one that we call our chicken shed. It's got our chicken feed in it and extra chicken supplies. So I already knew that this was going to be easy to assemble, that it was going to be really good quality, and that it was going to be beautiful. Like, this just looks nice sitting out here. And y'all, we needed a storage solution. Here on our little homestead, we needed a storage solution. I think everybody can benefit from having a place to store some things. We needed it, and this is the answer. Now, one thing that, as we were researching options for storage sheds, I thought, would it be more cost effective to go and build it from scratch and buy your own things and all that stuff, or would one of these kits be more cost effective? The ease of this, the ease of having it delivered to your door, having the instructions, having everything you need right there. The only other things we went and got were the 2x4s for the base. We had everything we needed. So that was easy and convenient. Even on top of that, it's more cost effective for my research to do one of these kits than if you were to get all of the individual pieces. Could you maybe be really frugal and plan really well and maybe build this from scratch a little cheaper? Maybe. But this was very affordable, and it was all in the boxes together, delivered to the door with the instructions and everything that we needed. Now, this may look like scratches, but y'all, it's not. There's a protective cover on this, like a protective layer of plastic. and it would take forever to peel it all off. Every single piece has that protective layer on it. So over time, maybe we'll work on peeling that off. Our other shed, we've just left it on, but it does have that protective layer over the entire thing. These are plastic. It's to help seal so that it doesn't leak, and we've not had any problems with leaks on the other shed that we have. This one's sitting in more direct sun, so especially on the roof, we may have to come back and caulk some of those. We'll see. And then, like I mentioned, we used 2x4s to make a base that we screwed this into. We still got the pack and play in here from when we had babies out here while we were working on it. And this was a light we had fixed up for the first day we worked on it where it got dark. I noticed a little one's already brought his bike in here to store it. That's sweet. So you can actually open up both of these doors. This one has this spring and lever on the top and down on the bottom. So if you wanted, you could open this up if you needed a wider space to bring things in and out. I have some Rubbermaid shelving units that I'm going to bring in here and put in so we can use those to store things on. But look at this space, y'all. I think everybody needs a little extra space. We try to not overkeep, not keep too many things or excessive things, but especially on a homestead, you just never know when you might need something. You have things that you need and you need a space to put them. This is that solution. I'm so excited about this shed. And y'all, like, everything is quality. These beams, this isn't going anywhere. This is not moving. We have had, just since we started putting this together, so between the first day Dad came and then today, we had a storm come through. This thing didn't move. It didn't leak. It held up perfect, just like you want it to. I'm telling you, it's not going anywhere. We love Patiowell, their products. Always been impressed by them. If you need a storage solution, make sure you go check them out. Huge shout out to my dad for coming and helping me get this shed put together. We would love for y'all to subscribe, join us on our channel, Our Small Town Life. We show life living in a small town. On our little 1 acre homestead, we do a lot on a little bit of space, a little bit of land, and we share that on our channel. We'd love to have you join us. Thank you again to Patiowell for sending us this shed. Is going to be the perfect storage solution for our little homestead. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.